Welcome to this episode of the Catalyst Podcast. My unpopular opinion, don't switch your tech. Before we launch into why, I'd like to start with a childhood memory. I remember playing the board game Monopoly for so many summers with my other two siblings. In fact, we had created extra rules. We had IOUs that we would write to each other. We'd take out loans, anything to extend the play of this amazing game. We would have hotels and move into communities, and it morphed into almost this fantastical, imaginative land. That was probably our favorite summerhood game. On the contrary, we also played another game called Sorry, and this one was different. It almost felt like a sham. I'll tell you a little bit more about Sorry in a moment because it absolutely is a great metaphor as to why I firmly believe that you should not change anything that you're working on if it is working for you. And I'm talking about tech. So in this episode, you're going to learn not only my special and favorite tech stack that I use to run my business, but you're going to learn how I choose it and methods that you can use to apply your interviewing of new tech or software applications to determine what might be a good fit for your processes. But first, let's talk the shiny object syndrome. You know, everywhere we look, there is a new AI app for something. There's new tech out there that's competing with the current tech you're using. There's a bazillion EMRs, many calendar scheduling apps. There's lots of organizational tools and video recording tools and social media, right? Sometimes when we feel frustrated inside our current workflow or processes, what do? We look elsewhere and think, well, maybe if we just switch. You know, in fact, I think that these advertisements from all these other software companies are just preying on this pain point for us. They know exactly how to word their marketing to really dig deep into that vulnerable spot, saying, yep, if you just had our software, all your problems would be solved. And see, nothing could be further from the truth. When you sign on to learn a new technology, you're delaying so much time in your current efficiency and workflows. You're also just putting your gamble that, yep, this tech is going to solve all your problems. It's that shiny object syndrome. You get a little bit of hit of dopamine, and really, is it going to be that life-changing, right? So this is a common perception that new tech is often better. And I'd like to challenge that idea by using the analogy of the board game Sorry. This one wasn't my favorite as a kid growing up because it felt like a sham. It was so different than Monopoly, which felt creative and expansive and very autonomous. You could choose your own adventure. Whereas Sorry was a sham. If you aren't familiar with this game, you're assigned a color and you have 4 marbles. And your whole goal is to get these marbles from your home from your starting to your home, all based on a roll of the dice. And so it didn't matter. The game always went the same. Somebody was in the lead, then somebody else is in the lead, and everybody's moving around the boards at different rates of speed. And it's so exciting. But then the last few moves, everybody has the same. Everybody's got 3 of their marbles in home, and we're all waiting for that last one to get in, and we're within 1 to 2 moves of each other. And that's because of statistics when you roll dice, right? So it starts off exciting and ends very mundane. And that is exactly what's happening with our tech. You see, all of our technology is improving. So if you sign up for a tech software and it happens to work for you about 80% of the time, you're pretty satisfied. The customer service is good. You know, you use it most of your days. You feel like you could easily train other people to use it. Then be patient, because whatever shiny new thing that's happening over there, guaranteed is going to be also happening in your software. And that's the benefit that you have when you stick to the same tech stack. First of all, you start to become familiar with how it works. You become more efficient. And that to me is worth its weight in gold. I want that cognitive, ability to remain sharp and not have to worry about learning something new, right? And familiarity, it boosts that efficiency and you feel streamlined and flow channeled. There's also a cost effectiveness because many of these technologies and softwares, If you enter in on a founding level or early on, you're an early adopter, they will honor those prices. You end up getting benefits and grandfathered into new beta testing ability, new AI unrolling. It's really exciting because they're going to give you some of these opportunities to try out their own new shiny object. And so that's a benefit, right? If you constantly jump from app to app and software to software, you're never getting efficient. You're only thinking that you're solving your problem by signing up for a new feature. When if you just hold your cards, everyone's going to be in the same spot. Everyone's going to get AI. And finally, reducing that learning curve. How much time a week do you want to spend learning new applications and software? It creates this feeling that, you're never done learning, which is true, but I'd rather concentrate that learning in medicine or in new ways to coach with my Catalyst mentees, in my skills as a clinician and as a mentor. I don't want to spend my precious learning time on just a new version of technology when the other one worked just as fine. So everything evens out, just like in that game of Sorry. And so when you want to design your own tech stack for your brain, you have to know how you work internally. I like to call it the user manual for our body and our brain. And we aren't born with a user manual. So often it's an exercise I walk my mentees through, learning about your own cadence. Are you a morning bird or a night owl? Do you prefer noise when you work? Silence? All of these things weave together to create you as a very empowered, efficient practitioner. And noticing your archetype, which, by the way, if you haven't taken the Catalyst Archetype quiz, I highly recommend it. It will help you realize what of the 4 elements drive your personality. How can you more likely get into flow and pedal back from burnout? I'll put the link in the show notes. But understanding your archetype and how you process information, how you cognitively find more energy and also depletion, those are important things in designing your tech stack. If you're a visual person, you probably wouldn't be gearing more towards a technological, data-driven spreadsheet kind of tech, and vice versa. You also want to look at choosing tools that fit specific needs. I'm all about diversifying your portfolio. I'm not somebody who's going to probably jump for an all-in-one tech solution. I like that each software is good at what it is. It tends to be a specialist in their niche. So I really am skeptical on a software that says we can do it all for you perfectly, because that's rarely the case. This is why I don't schedule inside my electronic medical records. It doesn't have as many nuances and capabilities that I'm looking for. I like to use scheduling software because they do it best. Scheduling software has so many options. Similarly, I wouldn't use my electronic medical records to send out really beautiful newsletters or a nurturing sequence for marketing, because that's not what EMR is built for. So I have other software programs for that. And this is why I love diversifying my tech, because then I'm not worried about those tech gremlins. Tech gremlins happen all the time. You'll hear it. We're down for maintenance, or sorry, we had a glitch. We're unavailable for the next day while we correct this, or whatever. It happens. And now we're used to it. And most patients and clients are just going to let that roll off their shoulders like you should. But if it's an all-in-one program, that makes me concerned, because if that goes down, your whole world goes down. What is your secret superpower energy source? I have 2, a morning cup of coffee and the energy I get from connecting with practitioners just like you. Since 2019, I've had the deep honor of working with practitioners all across the world and help them express their own unique healing style to transform patient lives without burnout. And I've put a lot of free resources in an online hub just for you. Head to drlarasalier.com/catalyst and download some of my freebies, like the Catalyst Calendar Method, which will teach you how to put more flow in your week, or the Functional Micro-Practice Checklist, so you can compare your journey to where you may want to go. And my favorite, the Catalyst Archetype Quiz. It will match you to one of 4 personas, and you'll learn what is your best creative expression, and also where are you most likely to drop into burnout. Knowledge is power, and awareness is curative. But most of all, connect with me. Give me that superpower energy source, and we can grab coffee at the same time. I leave spots in my calendar open, a few every week, just for you. And if you use the coupon podcast, you can waive the fee for these brainstorming sessions. So let's get online, let's share a cup of coffee, and book your appointment for free with the coupon code podcast. Go to drlarasalier.com/catalyst, and I can't wait to chat with you online. Let's create some magic. So here is a list of my favorite tech stack. And again, by no means is this the all-inclusive list or the best. It's what works for me. I guess you could call me an ambivert, both extroverted and introverted. I'm a visual learner. I am an ENFP. I am a catalyst archetype that is resolute rock with a little bit of fervent flame. And I really like visual applications that are customizable. And so my tech stack looks like this. For calendar scheduling, I use Acuity Scheduling. I've been a loyal fan for 8 years. What I love about this is it's very customizable. You can have integration into your Google Calendar, which most calendar scheduling software can do, but this goes another level. It's HIPAA compliant. You can alter your hours based on what kind of appointment type. So if I want to be closed to any in-person office visits, I can block my calendar for that, but still see my online patient visits. I can schedule buffering times before and after each appointment if I need some time for charting. It also allows me to send out SMS text reminders and email reminders that can all be customized based on different appointment types. I can send follow-up emails. And I can also add images and links, and it's just a wonderful, very comprehensive scheduling software. And lastly, I really like that it offers not only packages and programs, group visits, but also subscriptions. That's their version of a membership. So you can sell subscriptions where people can get access to you, and then you can allow or deselect certain appointment types that aren't included in that membership. So for that reason, I love Acuity Scheduling. For my idea organization, Trello is wonderful. Many of my mentees also use Notion, Evernote. These are also, or ClickUp. These are also popular. I like Trello because it's a visual bulletin board. So if you imagine a bulletin board with as many boards as you want, you can have a, work board, a patient care board, a personal board, a books I want to read board, all these things, podcast episodes. I have boards for so many topics. And think about each card that you're putting on is another Post-it note that goes on that bulletin board. So it's like a digital Post-it collector. So when I'm standing in line at the grocery store and I think, wow, that's a great idea, I type it into a little Trello card and I can put it on the board that it needs to live on. I also save screenshots on the internet. If I come across something funny or something I want to repurpose, I will screenshot it and add it to a Trello card. And the beauty of Trello is it enhances your team's communication. So if you're looking to eventually add on with assistants or VAs or other staff, Trello's great because you can assign certain cards to people and you can give it a due date. I, in fact, assign things to myself and put a due date and a timer on so that it reminds me. It keeps me on task, and I love that about Trello. I also love that you have access to all your past information. Once you archive a card, it does not disappear. So if you wonder, gosh, what was that conversation I had with that networking person in my community? You can look and search through the entire index of your past history and pull up that card. Very useful if you are taking notes during a Zoom meeting and you want to collect like a virtual Rolodex of people so that you can set triggers to remind yourself to follow up with them. It's a wonderful tool to organize your work and life. Now, the last that I'm going to touch on are my two favorite apps for communication. For written communication, my favorite app is TextExpander. The reason I like that, it's like shortcuts. You get to design your own folders and desk drawers of all these shortcuts that you can use. And you can let it be cultivated and built based on how your brain works. What I like to do is create folders for different parts of my life, patient care, mentorship, public speaking, and then I will match the little shortcut keys to whatever folder that is. For example, if it's public speaking, it might be a lowercase p and then services. So when I type P and then capital services, it will pull in this pre-written text I've already formulated when somebody asks about hiring me for a keynote. I'll have it all beautifully said, it's on brand, and then I can pop that in real quick to any DM message or email. And so I create these folders. For example, if it's a podcast episode, it might be a lowercase e with like another word. And my brain knows that, those are the ways I've scripted my short keys. And it's phenomenally time saving. Imagine explaining the Hersheimer reaction once and including nice little visuals and a little article link and never having to explain it again, because you can just simply type in 4 keystrokes and it goes right into your patient visit summary. The reason TextExpanders is replacing my EMR dot phrases is TextExpanders travels with you. It is like your own index file of cards and snippets that you carry throughout the world, not just usable in your EMR, but also in iMessage, on your phone, on your desktop, in your email server, on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, whatever. You can use it and it travels with you. So that way it's a cloud-based service that you never have to worry about one or another area falling apart. You've got your wonderful index file cabinet of text snippets. The second communicating software that I love is Loom Video because it's visual. I use that to screen share and record lab interpretation videos. You can password protect those for patients and put it inside their portal. It is a crowd pleaser. Patients often watch the video multiple times, probably with their spouse, who knows, but they're able to share exactly what's going on and they get excited. You can have your camera on or off and you can go over their labs and then pause before their name goes on the screen to keep it HIPAA compliant, as well as password protect it. You can choose to have it record only the camera, so you can use that for recording videos or social media interviews. It's a wonderful, wonderful platform. You can also upload past recorded videos, like maybe you had a great Zoom meeting and you want to put that on social media. You can use that on Loom. The editing features on Loom are out of this world. It's like so easy, a kindergartner can do it. You can edit directly from the transcript by looking at the transcript and erasing words, and it will edit the video, or you can go old school and listen and trim and stitch and clip video as many times as you want. It's fantastic. Highly recommend TextExpander and Loom. So how do you choose, right? How do you choose? You want to ask 4 questions. If you're looking at a new software and you're getting that itch and you're going, I know, it's just a temporary dopamine high, but I'm really thinking this might solve my problem. That's okay. Ask the cost. Don't pay for a year up front, even if it's cheaper. I'm telling you, I've done that so many times and I've kicked myself. Pay for the monthly and make sure it's low enough of a cost that it's easy to back out of, right? So that's the second thing. Look at their contract. Is it cancelable? Can you decide 2 months from now that you're just not a good fit and you can back out? Is there a fee? So make sure that they don't have any little unwritten or very small text features saying that you owe, a prorated 1-year contract if you back out. The third little question to ask before you sign on is this able to be cross-utilized in your team? Or is this a tech that only you're going to be able to use? Some of them require additional licenses or fees if you add on to a team, but make sure it is capable for expansion. You might be a solopreneur now, but what if you have an empire of a team later and you're able to then easily communicate with those team members using that app? And finally, make sure it is available on desktop, tablet, and mobile. You want to have this flexibility as your world expands and you're able to use it interchangeably. So those are the 4 questions that I use when I'm interviewing new software applications. What is the cost? Definitely pay monthly until you're satisfied. Number 2, is there a problem if you back out in 2 months, 3 months, or in a week? Better, even if there's a free trial, and see if you can cancel. Number 3, is it cross-communicating with your team? Can you add other people? And finally, is it available in mobile, tablet, and desktop? So remember, the key takeaways here: stability over novelty. Pause that dopamine button in your mind that thinks your solution is out there. Your solution is within. The more you understand your own flow cadence, the more you understand the user manual of your own mind, body, spirit. And if you work with a mentor who can pull those out of you to create your beautiful self-expressive healing style, you'll be able to transform patient lives without burnout and enjoy the career that you've built. Make sure this tech works for you. Make sure it really hits that personalization that you're looking for, and keep that long-term view in mind. Technology is always going to improve. So remember the game of sorry. Everybody might look like they're getting a lead in one area or another, but trust that technology is always improving and you're not missing out. If you're efficient, that is all that counts. Thank you for listening, and keep practicing that 6th vital sign of creativity. If you're interested, I've got a few brainstorming sessions available, and I'll put the notes in the show notes, the direct link. If you use the word podcast, you can get a free brainstorming session. I would love to talk to you and help you design your best tech stack. All right, until next time, keep coloring outside the lines.